All right, everyone, thank you for coming here today, and I know that it's busy, so we will try to get right to the point. For the better part of 2 years, I have been working for and pushing for, along with members of my caucus, a consistent, fair, and open process to deal with ethics in the state of Connecticut, and specifically with respect to treating the transgressions of our own members. For at least the past 18 months, that goal has been shared by both Democrat and Republican senators, as witnessed by the fact that in December of 2007, the Democratic caucus came out, the Senate President, the Majority Leader, and said it was a caucus position that the Senate Democrats wanted a permanent committee on ethics. Much to my surprise, shock, and disappointment, our proposal, which established a bipartisan legislative ethics committee, a proposal that 41 states currently have, was rejected along almost unanimously partisan lines, with only Senator Ed Meyer supporting us. And credit to Senator Meyer, who met with me in November, December of 2007 for at least the better part of a half hour to 45 minutes in my office to work on this very proposal. We are again renewing our call for the establishment of a permanent process, a process that is fair, open, bipartisan, and consistent. On opening day of this session, we and our caucus were prepared to offer an amendment to our rules to establish a bipartisan ethics committee. At the request of the Senate President, and let me make that very clear, at the request of the Senate President, we did not call our amendment. He spoke to me privately and asked me not to call the amendment to see if we can work together in a bipartisan fashion to come to an agreement on bipartisan permanent ethics committee. Over the course of the session, I'm sad to say there was no agreement. In fact, there was no real effort on his part or the part of his caucus to work with the Senate Republican caucus. That's why we ran our amendment to the rules as part of our agreement the other night, and that's why we continue to renew our call for a bipartisan ethics committee. If you listen to the debate, and the transcript plainly states that there were only 2 objections raised to our proposal. One, that this should not be open to the public to lodge complaints, because that could lead our system open to partisan political complaints. And 2, Senator Looney indicated that after his experience and time, he wouldn't admit changing his position, but he has changed his position in that an ad hoc process is better. We have filed that very proposal, a proposal which allows for an ad hoc committee once a complaint is filed, and for complaints to be limited as to who can file them, members of the body. It exactly addresses the only 2 concerns they raised. And let me state, this is not a new idea. There are 9 states without a legislative ethics committee. Those states are Arkansas, Michigan, Nebraska, North Dakota, Oklahoma, Rhode Island, Vermont, Wyoming, and Connecticut. There are, according to NCSL, 10 states, although we have only found 8. NCL says there are 10. But at least 8 that we have found right now that have this very ad hoc process, whereby once a complaint is filed, a committee is formed. Colorado, Florida, Hawaii, Idaho, Kansas, Louisiana, South Dakota, and Texas. We are again saying to them, we are willing to compromise. We are willing to accept your 2 suggestions to the proposal. We are willing to ignore the fact that for months they didn't come forward with either of those suggestions, and take them now and pass this before we adjourn. Absent passage of a permanent process which is fair and consistent and opened, what are we left with? We are left with a process whereby the Senate